This is my introductory speech. This is Olivia, she's my audience. There's a choice you have to make in everything you do, so keep in mind that in the end the choice that you make makes you. There's been many influences in my life that have impacted me and brought me to where I am today. The many influences that I have are, I would believe, are my grandparents and my mom, and my parents. My parents, I believe, are the biggest influence in my life. My dad has been a tremendous influence in my life. He has pushed me to where I am today. In sports, he always kept pushing me through everything, and holding me to a higher standard. Because knowing when I was younger, he knew exactly what I wanted. Being a 9-year-old kid, I always wanted to, play college hockey and go to the NHL. And my dad knew that this was a dream that I wanted, and so he pushed me, hoping that someday that this dream would come true. He also pushed me outside of school in everything that I did. He supported me in everything that I did, whether he liked the idea or not. One of the biggest things that he helped support me, which was really tough for him, was living in my fraternity house last semester. It was an idea that he did not like at all, but in the end he still supported me and he wanted me to learn on my own. And I'm glad that I listened to his advice. But in the end, I still made the decision to live in the house, and it was a huge mistake that I probably shouldn't have done. It made me think a lot about who I am as a person. My next big influence would have to be my mom. She's always been the person that I could go to. She always has answers to all my questions. She's been through a lot of the problems that I've had in my life, so a lot of times she can relate herself to me and break it down, the problem that I have, and she can help me fix it. Through that, she's helped me kind of become a problem solver. A lot of people will come to me with their problems, and I can help them because I've been in situations that a lot of people have asked me questions about. No matter what, my mom will always be there for me, good or bad. Like this past semester wasn't a very good semester for me, and my mom, turned me around and she helped me look at the bigger aspect that, I just need to get my life in check and it'll be good. And she's played a lot of devil's advocate in my life before, looking at both sides of everything to make sure I see everything and do exactly what I want. Most recent devil's advocate that she's ever played with was my choosing where I wanted to go to college. This was a big thing just because more than likely I was going to have to move away from my family, and this was really hard for me just because my family is such a big impact on me because I am the oldest in my family, and family is just a huge thing that I have. So she would always say, well, just remember you're not going to always be a part of my little brother's lives just because, she would just say little things like that just to make sure it's exactly what I wanted to do, which was coming to NDSU. Special bonds are often created throughout your lives that are, in most cases, unbreakable. My next big influence I would have to say is my grandmother. Growing up at a very young age, I've always shared this special bond with my grandmother. I always had this special bond growing up with my grandmother. She, since I was about 5 minutes old to where I am now, 20 years later, she's just always been there for me. Growing up, my parents worked really long hours on the weekends, and I never really got to see them, so I was always with my grandparents. With that, I, like I said, I created this special bond with my grandmother that I still have today. Um, I can always, anytime I see my grandmother, she'll always still tell me the same stories that I had growing up. She'd always have this one story that makes me laugh every time. Is um, when I was with my grandparents. Um, anytime I was probably about one. Anytime I cry, my grandfather would be just complaining. Get that kid to shut up, blah 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 blah. And my grandmother would be like, "Fine, I'll just go take him for a ride." She'd get me all bundled up and everything like that. Um, Second she'd pull back to the end of the driveway, she'd turn around and she'd see me passed out in the back seat. Um, it's just little things in my younger upbringing, where I was just always with my grandma, that I created this special bond, which today she has shown me how to treat people. She's shown me how to um, put people first, and that's kind of how I've always been. I'm always the person that it's really hard to say no. I I'm always putting people first, and my grandmother's taught me that. She'll go out of her way to help people. My grandmother has been volunteering at a hospital for the last probably 10 years, and she'll always go out of her way to help somebody. I can describe my grandmother as a person that smile will light up a room, and I've been told that I've had the same characteristic, so I believe that I've gotten that from my grandmother. Goals are a great thing to have in life. They give your life a sense of purpose and something worth fighting for. I have many goals in my life. I have many goals that I would like to accomplish in my life. One goal I have in my life is not to end up like my parents, um, especially with my upbringing when I was younger and never really got to see my parents just because they were always working. Um, I would never like to have my kids. I mean, I would never not want to be a part of my kids' lives. I'm not saying my parents weren't. They were most definitely there. It's just I know they wish that they could have been there a lot more for me. I don't want to work fast food for the next 30, 40 years of my life. Just we're living on paycheck to paycheck. Growing up was, yes, I got to do what I wanted to do. I got to, play some of the sports that I wanted to play, but a lot of that was because I had to find my own ways of paying for it. Um, and I don't want that for my kids. No, I'm not going to spoil my kids. I'm going to make sure my kids learn the value of the dollar. But, I most definitely don't want them to ever have to worry. Um, I want to know that I want them to know that I will always be there for them. I mean, I know my parents will always be there for me too. Another goal I have, it's somewhat of a short-term goal, is to graduate college. This is a huge opportunity that I have right now that my parents pretty pretty well passed up on, which is something that I'm already doing better than my parents. That I don't want to end up like them. Um, my father was most definitely the all-star athlete, and looking at him today, I've always questioned, how is that? How could that be? Just because my dad just doesn't look like what he used to look like. Um, my father, was the go-to guy for pretty much anything. He could have very easily have gone to college, and he turned it up to um, go work. He had a child at a very young age in high school, and so that was another reason why he wasn't able to go to college. My mom, for the same reason, she really had no motivation to go to school. She also turned up college just to go work. She saw the money and she took the money and didn't want to go to school. It's things like that that I don't want to be like my parents, and just like right now, me going to school is already being better and not trying to live their lives that they had. And then with the going to school, I have a dream of wanting to own my own construction firm, being able to work the hours that I want to work, make really decent money, and again, still be there for my family because family is a huge thing that I love, and I love my family to death. Setting goals for yourselves gives you a sense of purpose, and you know what you want to do. And once you have reached your goal, it is one of the most satisfying accomplishments. To conclude, I am who I am today because of the influences in my life. I've explained to you my parents, my grandparents have been such a huge impact on my life, and that they are for and because of them, I am who I am today. There is a choice you have to make in everything that you do. So in the end, the choice that you make makes you. My dad has said this quote to me many times growing up, and it's more and more every day. I'll think about it. I'll think about it. Once, sometimes twice a day. There isn't one day where I'm not thinking about that quote, just because everything that I do, I think about. This is who I am. If I'm not liking what I'm doing, then I need to change it. Like this past semester, I didn't have a very good semester, and I've changed a lot because it's not who I am. It's not what I wanted it. I didn't want that to make me. So keep in mind, everything that you make makes you.